on Intro to NFTs. I will be posting this on LinkedIn. So this is a quick overview of a lot of the questions that I've gotten. And yeah, I'm going to jump right into it. So I am the founder of Gen Labs. It is a new agency slash investing shop slash consultancy that's focused on Web3 technology. And I'll run you through what that is now, and then we'll get into NFTs and why that is super important. So the big innovation that drew me into this space and that I think is here to stay is this idea of digital scarcity. And I think one of the biggest innovations of the internet in the next iteration will be the guaranteed scarcity of a digital asset. That is something that is fundamental. The blockchain proved that that is possible and made that possible. And so we have Bitcoin to thank for that. And the problem with digital currencies, because they're not a new phenomenon, but the problem with them before Bitcoin, and there was many different projects that were working on this, is they couldn't solve for decentralized scarcity. So they could guarantee scarcity, but a central company, like let's say a PayPal, had to create that scarcity and manage that blockchain, or manage that internal ledger. Sorry. The problem with that is you almost have to take their word for it, and it's hard for value to accrue to that because it's not an open system. Whereas Bitcoin is purely peer-to-peer, and that creates it, makes it an open system. And then since then, we've seen Ethereum and this entire explosion of digitally scarce assets. So a very important asset class, and I think it's going to be fundamental. So a lot of people are skeptics of crypto, and that's fine. They see crypto and they see investing, they see the price volatility, and they think that's crazy. But what's important to understand is none of that noise is important. One thing to watch is the growth of the network. And there's now hundreds of millions of people who have crypto wallets, who own these assets. And those people, especially in registered democracies, they are voters. They have an incentive to make sure this network stays safe. So, no one can really shut it down, and the value is exponential. And so if you look at this, the first person to have a cell phone other than yourself, you can call one person. That's incrementally valuable than a single cell phone. Whereas a group of cell phones then becomes more valuable, and then a network of connected people, billions of people connected, is exponentially more valuable. And this effect applies to things like fax machines, to the internet itself, to vehicles, to anything where you're creating a common kind of standard for how people communicate. So that's how I look at crypto. And that is absolutely taken off. It's gone past escape velocity, is here to stay, and it will never go away. So what is Web3? So Gen Labs has a 3 in the name, and what Generational Labs is focused on is the third generation of the internet. So Web3 is defined as data will be interconnected in a decentralized way, which is a huge leap from Web2, where data is mostly in centralized companies. So if you look at the 3 generations of the internet, the first generation was a static information internet, just web pages. That was the .com era. Web 2 was this social internet where you took basically the static internet, added scripting languages like JavaScript on top of it. All of a sudden, you could build new products like YouTube and Facebook. You'd also add in the mobile internet into Web 2. Well, the third generation is a decentralized internet, and then you can add in AI as well there. But that is the evolution of what the internet and what Web3 is. So when you hear Web3, that is what it is describing. So everyone talks about crypto, and they, again, back to the skepticism, they wonder, well, is this going to be here to stay? Because it just looks like a bunch of speculation. But there's now some business models that are being created. So if I step back to when I first got into crypto, which is early 2016, there was very few business models around it. There was some exchanges, And mostly the hype around the first run was around this concept of ICOs, or initial coin offerings. People came out with a bunch of things to say blockchain will change this, change that. And it was very hyped up. But obviously that bubble kind of collapsed. And then we went into what's called crypto winter for a few years. And that brings us then to 2019. And the end of 2019 is when the pandemic started. Which really brought people home. People were immersed into the digital world. And all of a sudden it was like, we're having issues getting government checks into people's hands, especially in the US. And we're wondering, okay, central banks are printing money, this digital thing, it's scarce and people have time, they're speculating on it. And all of a sudden crypto goes for another massive run. And then out of that run, what we're seeing is things like NFTs and token economics take over. And so here's some of these business models. So Gary Vaynerchuk, he is monetizing his audience through VFriends. It is an NFT drop. And he was the first person to really look at CryptoPunks, let's say, and say, hey, there's something very fundamental here with NFTs that is going to change the internet. And if you follow his content, he's really into like collectibles. He collects physical baseball cards. He collects sneakers. He actually has a sneaker collaboration with K-Swiss. He goes to like garage sales and buys rare like memorabilia and then resells it. And he's big on eBay for doing that, which is really interesting. So he gravitated and understands this collectible nature of NFTs. And so he launched VFriends right here, which is this really interesting concept on, and I see if I can share this tab. But VFriends is this interesting concept on his upcoming conferences, VCon 2022, 23, and 24. So each NFT that he launches is its utility essentially is a ticket to his upcoming conferences. In addition, there's other ones. So scarce ones have, like lunch with Gary Vee, or they may say Gary Vee will play video games with you for an hour, or whatever the access is. But he's created a bunch of different access, which is really interesting. Mark Cuban has a really interesting take on it as well. So he really gravitated to this idea that you can code in royalties rights to the asset. So every time that asset transacts in the future, you can get 15% or whatever you code into of that transaction. So you can imagine maybe one day a music artist, instead of going to a record label, they do their first NFT drop. They've coded into that the future transactions of this, I get a royalty. And then as that collection gains value because their fan base increases and their notoriety increases, every transaction there, that artist is monetizing. And so it's a new way to look at monetization. You can also look at models like Warzone by Call of Duty. Warzone is a free game. Anyone can play it. But what the monetization model there is the selling of skins or goods in the game to upgrade your guns and your character and whatnot that are very hard to get. So you have to spend a lot of time playing it. Instead, people are like, you know what? I just want to buy a curated collection on a gun and have it all upgraded just by purchasing it. So the scarcity there is that people have to spend time and then they can upgrade it. There's really other interesting business models around DeFi. These are very nascent and coming to the forefront, but it's financialization of NFTs. So NFTX, founded in Canada, out in BC, is really focused around, okay, can we package up these NFTs that are worth money? Similar to art is an investing class. Well, NFTs are definitely an investing class. So we'll package them up and then add in fractional ownership or the ability to get exposure to them. So that's a really interesting concept. Another business model is around creating digital goods. So similar to how Call of Duty or Fortnite have digital goods in their games, you may be, let's say, a athlete and you create a virtual sneaker drop And that then translates into a filter on Snapchat, let's say, or a filter in some sort of other augmented reality world. So there is some taking it and giving it real world kind of, I can wear them by looking at it in it through an AR filter every time I take an Instagram filter. So this is an interesting concept. I think we'll see a lot more of this happening, these digital good drop. And it might even be where you buy the physical version, you get the digital version as well. And so it's like you wear the physical version, but when you're in the digital world, either playing video games or whatnot, you can wear your virtual equivalent as well. Another interesting business model we've seen in Web3 is this concept of crypto rewards. So we've seen cards do this. It's having rewards like point systems is nothing new. Air Miles has done it for years. But what consumers are really getting interested is consumers are genuinely interested in the Bitcoins and Dogecoins of the world. So Lolly, for instance, does cashbacks. You can get 9% cash back on your virtual good. The difference here between, let's say, a Best Buy or a Air Miles reward program is the Bitcoin rewards actually have appreciated in value. So if you were doing this a year ago when Bitcoin was $5,000 and you got a couple $100 in cashback rewards, well, today that's worth about $2,000 in spending power. So there's an economic incentive then to put more and more of your purchases through an app like Lolly that gives you that cashback rewards in Bitcoin because your Bitcoin is going up in value. So that's a kind of a combination of the incentive rewards programs, but also having the crypto economic incentive as, it's a scarce asset. As more people adopt it, it goes up in price. Well, then it's kind of this self-fulfilling prophecy where my rewards are worth more, so I want to spend more in it, and so on and so forth. The investors in Lolly are Serena Williams and a number of other high-profile celebrities. Another interesting project and business model in Web3 is a concept that Kin is going after, which is a network of apps that all use a common currency called Kin. And so you can envision this day where you have 1,000 apps that are using this digital currency, and all their consumers are using this currency, and all their users using this currency. And you might, in Kik, for instance, to enter a group chat, you have to spend a certain amount of Kin to get into that group chat. For other apps like Madlips, it's peer-to-peer tipping. Plus, you can earn Kin by viewing ads. In a P365, who has 100 million users, especially female users, this is a makeup app. You can actually get different filters, and you can only buy them with Kin. So that makes you want to go out and earn Kin. And to earn Kin, you have to view an ad. And if those view to completion rates are good, then Google rewards you with higher CPMs. So you can see how value is being created by using a token like Kin. In Monkey Me here, you're basically tipping Kin to the creators for how long you listen to their music, which is a really interesting concept. And there's a few other different kind of Kin experiences. But the core idea here is you have a group of apps with an interoperable currency, consumer currency, that a user can take from one app to another and use it for digital goods inside that ecosystem. That's a very powerful thing. For the developers, as Kin grows in size, as more users want it, you can think of like, iTunes gift cards or Fortnite credits, and go to your local drugstore and you see a gift card rack. Well, $50. A lot of people are spending on Apple Play and or Google Play, Apple App Store, etc., to get these credits. Well, consumers might need to buy Kin credits, let's say, to unlock virtual access in different consumer apps. So that creates buying pressure on a fixed digital asset. You have more developers using it, more people want to buy it. Brands, let's say, are advertising to consumers in Kin, so they have to own some Kin. So you have this kind of value where the network is gaining value, and the people participating in the network, whether you be a developer, whether you're adding liquidity, whether you're an advertiser, whether you're a consumer, the value of your tokens is increasing. And so that's a new monetization model that's really exciting. So back to NFTs, let's go through it. So we talked, to recap there, a lot about the major innovation of crypto, guaranteed scarcity of a digital asset, the network effects of digital currencies, whether it be Bitcoin, et cetera, is more people are on the networks, the more valuable the network is, the more powerful its staying power becomes. We got into Web3. It's the move from centralized databases to decentralized web experiences, the internet, different business models. I'm going to talk about now NFTs, because this is where a lot of these business models and attention from people that are not thinking about crypto, so average people, this is where it's coming into the forefront. And we have lots of case studies to show this. So, we have, we got, the MLB recently just came out last week saying that they're doing a partnership with Fanatics, Galaxy Digital, Gary Vaynerchuk to launch Candy Digital, which is their way of monetizing their intellectual property and is their move into NFTs. We saw NBA do this with Dapper Labs through NBA Top Shot. And essentially what the NBA did was monetize moments, so highlights essentially. And then they traded, which, traded at a pretty big premium. I think there was, some of them were going for $200,000, and the NBA actually got 5% of the buy and sell side of each of those transactions. And there was, as of a month ago, about $600 million worth of transactions. So right there, the NBA got $30 million of just pure cash flow royalties from NFTs. And I can tell you that others are definitely paying attention to that, including the MLB. The MLB might take a different spin on this. MLB is really known for, if you go look around at everyone's fitted hats, they're mostly MLB teams. A lot of people are very passionate about either you're a Jays fan, a Red Sox fan, a Yankees fan. So there's a lot of IP value there. And so it'll be interesting to see what NFTs and, what IP and how MLB monetizes that IP. Okay, so back to the presentation here. So that's what is exciting and why kind of this might really start to take hold, and it is. But here's an example of what an NFT is in the more traditional sense of an NFT. It started with art. And so here's a exhibit by Mad Dog Jones through Phillips, which is a global art curator. And so they did this collaboration, and this piece actually ended up selling for $4 million US. And what's really cool is in the smart contract here, you can code in a bunch of really interesting things into the smart contract. So for theirs, they have multiple generations, and at each level of generation, one of the NFTs is discontinued. So it makes the previous generation of those NFTs more rare. So they're actually coding in scarcity in a verifiable random way, which is really interesting. We covered the VFriends. This is what Gary Vaynerchuk's NFT drop actually looks like. So here is the art. He actually drew all these himself, and he has a video of him drawing this specific one. I actually went, and this is one of the ones I own. So I actually purchased this. And it gives you access to VCon 2022, 23, and 24. So I will definitely go and attend those conferences. I'm actually really excited to. CryptoPunks. So I'll show this project off real quick, because CryptoPunks was the first NFT on Ethereum. And what CryptoPunks was, the founders are Matt and John from Larva Labs. They are both Google Labs residents. So they're definitely significant. They were behind the Android avatar. So, the little green Android dude. The creator of CryptoPunks actually created that aesthetic. And so Christie's, the major auction house, auctioned off a collection of their original CryptoPunks. There's 10,000 in total. They have random attributes. There's aliens, apes, zombies, humans, males, females. They have different attributes like hats and hoodies, and they have different levels of scarcity. And they auction off for $17 million. Also at the Sotheby's auction currently is another alien CryptoPunk. And its current bid with 3 days left is about 500,000 US dollars. So this is what an NFT, the original NFT project. I was one of the first couple hundred people in the world to own an NFT. I have a collection of CryptoPunks myself. We talked about NBA. This is what the NBA Top Shot moments look like. So essentially you have this moment here, and you can purchase these moments and you can also purchase packs when they drop, and they get a random moment. So you might get a really rare one, or you might not get such a scarce one. Again, $600 million in transaction volume, and the NBA owns it. So I get a lot of questions about NFTs around, okay, what do you actually own? So essentially, this is a visual representation of the ownership rights that are written on a blockchain. So for CryptoPunks, for instance, you see this art here, you can copy paste that, you can take that all you want, but the ownership rights themselves are what are written to this database here. And that is verifiable on the blockchain. And this is what is on Ethereum. So similar to the Mona Lisa, where you have tons of different copies of the Mona Lisa, but you only have one original. This concept's the same. Someone could definitely copy and paste a CryptoPunk that I own and use it as their own avatar, and I definitely have no recourse there. Maybe in the future I could have some legal recourse, but currently I don't, which is fine. I mean, at the end of the day, I am the one who owns it. When I go to sell it, that transaction and the buyer recognizes my ownership over anyone else, because it is the only way you can buy them through the smart contract. So this is what an Ethereum smart contract looks like. And there's marketplaces like OpenSea where you can go and actually, go and trade this kind of stuff. It's really, really interesting. So I get asked all the time, okay, how do I get into NFTs or start? I think really what you need to do and what I recommend, this is not financial advice. NFTs, we don't know if NFTs will be here long-term or not. NFTs will be here forever. What is not known is how they'll be valued. So there's been a lot of projects that have launched. Probably most of those go to near zero. It's very rare that things go to absolute zero, but they'll go to near zero, in saying that not everything is going to be valuable. So right now, the world definitely recognizes that CryptoPunks, the first NFT, is valuable, and it's based on a few things like provenance. It was first. The founders are the ones who really kicked off the NFT movement. It has a really active community and marketplace. So that's how you value these things. So how to start collecting? You definitely have to get some Ethereum. So based on your location, country, where you are, there's different ways to buy Ethereum, and you got to look in your own jurisdiction of what you're allowed to. The largest US-based exchange is Coinbase, now publicly listed on the NASDAQ. So it has gone through regulatory approval, and it is quite safe. Then you need a wallet. So MetaMask is the industry standard. You can get it in your Chrome browser, and you can connect your wallet to it. I recommend using a hardware wallet as well for enhanced security. Lazy.com is a great way to visualize your NFTs. So once you purchase them, you basically hook up your 0x Ethereum address. And if you go to lazy.com, you can see your entire collection there just by pasting your address in. So Lazy is a website. It goes to your Ethereum address, says, hey, what NFTs are in this account? And then it goes and visualizes them for you. And then you can go to OpenSea and you can collect them. So that's a quick introduction to NFTs. This is my first video, so I want to thank you all for joining. I see Abdullah, you joined, so I appreciate you a lot. This is going to be shared on LinkedIn, but yeah, it's a really interesting space. I'm starting this company called Gen Labs that is going to be working on investments in the space, and hopefully we can, you know, find some interesting collaborations. Definitely drop some comments in the LinkedIn, my first video. So if you have constructive feedback, please let me know, and I will work that into future content. And I appreciate all your time and attention. Have a great day, everyone. See ya.